In this episode, we find sanctuary in the Bay of Tindari on the northern coast of Sicily. We come to escape the crowds of the popular smaller Italian islands and are charmed by this delightful seaside town and embraced by the local holidaymakers. We get the boat fixed and are shown around the sights and even are taken out to dinner by some new French and Italian friends who have been holidaying here for decades. It's not hard to understand why. Oliveri recently experienced bushfires, sparked by some incredibly hot weather. It's shocking to see the devastation. Tindari was settled by the Greeks in 395 BC, before becoming a Roman town. We explore the archaeological side of Tindari, where there is a large theatre that's still in use today, with magnificent views over the Tyrrhenian Sea. We discover the Black Madonna in the Basilica Santuario Maria del Tindari, who also chose sanctuary in this beautiful bay.
Just left Lipari this morning, and we're going to leave this. What's this island group?
Aeolian Islands.
Aeolian Islands, and it's been lovely to go into Caneto and to Lipari itself. But we went there for gas, and nice little towns. But the anchorage is very rolly.
It was so rocky.
Yeah, and most of it's coming from the other boats, which is fine. There's just a lot of ferries going by. There's a lot of tourist ferries going around the island. Everybody's out enjoying themselves, which is fantastic. But oh my goodness me, it turns a bay that in the morning up until about 9 a.m. is just beautifully calm.
It's lovely and calm, and then they come in.
And you can
quickly, really fast, and big wake, and they're just constant, kind of coming and going all day. That we're always rocking.
And it's quite tiring, and I think it's sort of contributing to you feeling a little bit unwell.
I've been feeling queasy. Like not sick. I don't feel seasick, but I just feel lethargic, like I want to go back to bed, and then after dinner I'm going, oh, I'm better, I'm awake now, and I think it's just because the rockiness is gone. I think it's a kind of seasick.
Anyway,
be glad to be out of there.
So we're going to Sicily, to a place that somebody recommended and said it was nice and quiet.
I think I'm just going to change my attitude. I think we'll go, it's August.
Yeah.
We're in Italy.
Yeah.
They're all on holiday and they're loving the water. They come past and they're waving, and then you have the pesce, calamare, men coming around to sell us food in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And you've really got to embrace it and go, okay, we're going to be busy for this month.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I think we'll be quiet out here for too long.
So please don't take this as a complaint. We're having fun.
But it does get tiring.
It
gets tiring,
Looking for somewhere a little bit calmer. I'm not sure we're going to find it in August, but
pretty calm out here, just cruising. Just keep going.
It is. Yeah, it's much nicer. Tomorrow, Sunday, there's a bit of a stronger westerly, maybe up to 15 knots. So we're also just seeking an anchorage for us to shelter from that as well. So I just heard a little tinkle or something hit the deck, and found on the side deck this washer. I think they come off the bottom of the nut on the bottom of the gooseneck here. I need to try and find where the nut is. No trace of the nut. Don't know if it's gone overboard or where it's gone, or even if it fell off just then. It could just be the washer that fell off the bottom. Not really a problem for us today. The other end of that bolt that goes through the gooseneck though is actually the tack for the sail, so put too much tension on the heli that it'll just keep pulling that pin out. So, but we shouldn't have a problem today with what we're doing. So have to find a marine supply store and get a stainless steel lock nut. So everything is all fixed, and And you may ask, Richard, how did you get that fixed? We got it fixed in the Italian way.
So this morning we're sitting out here with our breakfast and a couple of swimmers come by. A man and a woman, and they said, buongiorno, and we say, buongiorno. They start speaking Italian. We didn't answer very much. And they go, you speak English. So we had a chat. A nice chat about local anchorages and things.
Yeah.
And they were just about to leave, and Richard said, actually, I have a question for you.
Yes, I just asked them, told them what the problem was and asked them whether they knew somewhere local. Because I know there's a marine supply store, but it's like 2 stops on the train and a half-hour walk to get to it. So it's a day mission for us.
And it's really hot. To have a day off the boat on public transport in this heat's pretty yucky.
Anyway. They said, yeah, we know somebody. Well, we'll ask them. And
they actually said, we're not from here, we're on holiday anyway.
Yeah. But they know somebody here. So they obviously spoke to that person, and we just had the guy come up. And he had exactly what we're after, which was a sort of half-inch stainless steel lock nut, and gave me a couple of other half-inch nuts as well, just in case that one drops off at some stage and I need some emergency.
So nice. I said, we're saying how grateful we were. I said, how can I pay you? Can I give you some money? And he said, it is up to you, madame. I wish to help, but it is up to you. Yeah. So we gave him some money. It was so nice.
Yes.
Just lovely little interaction, and it's fixed.
It's fixed, yeah. And, he even put the nut on for me. So, it was a full service job. And I just needed to sit here and sip my coffee. No, I went up and helped them. This is just so typical Italy, isn't it?
They go out of their way to help. Everyone is there. Even these swimmers this morning said, is everything okay? Are you happy?
Yeah.
We later find out they're on holiday here too. They're not even locals, but they're checking if everything's okay with us.
Yeah.
So caring.
Really lovely.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Really lovely. So that's our introduction to Sicily. So if it all goes like that, it'll be wonderful.
So I was just serving dinner and I heard a bit of honking, some horns, some boat horns. We popped out the window and we found ourselves in the middle of a religious procession.
On the water?
Yes, a boat procession with a big statue of, I think it was the Virgin Mary, and all of these locals, and a band. And on the beach was a lot of smoke. I don't know what that was, whether they were incense of some kind, but that was a thrill.
It was.
C'è la ragazza vaccala là a fare il tiro pure.
Ha ragione Elena, la brioche non era fresca.
E anche la...
In the back side, Lipari.
The first one is Vulcano.
Yes.
On the right is Panarea, and Stromboli is there. You see just a little ombra, come si dice, shadow.
Yes. Right in the back.
The bigger volcano in Europe.
And that erupted?
Yeah.
I think
2 days ago.
Yes.
Perché metterà proprio quella?
Perché aveva più o meno...
Sì, un po' c'è solo...
Sono riposato perché
See how far down that water is? We can literally say we've walked all the way from sea level.
Sailing Helios
like and subscribe.
We're just locking up the boat because we're going out tonight. Oh, I don't think I can reach that one. Because we've heard there's a exposition, which I think is what we'd call an expo. So Matteo came floating out to see us with his 3 strapping young nephews. He spoke very good English. And after chatting in the water for 5 minutes, we invited him on board, and the kids were really keen to have a tour of the boat. Although 3 boys in big baggy board shorts, dripping with water, left massive puddles. But it was very nice to have them. The boys didn't want to speak English, although I know they could understand a bit. Mateo's English was great. And Matteo told us about this exposition, an expo in town. Now, I would have thought, living on a boat, you're kind of immune to passers-by and door knockers and visitors. Not in southern Italy. And not when you're anchored a couple of 100 metres off the beach. We have found friends. We have been invited out to dinner. We have been on a walk. We've been taken to an old church. And we've had a few people come on the boat to ask to have a look and have a tour. Even if they don't speak English, we understand enough Italian. They understand a little bit of English. And we hear words like bellissima. And they all stop, have a little bit of a chat and swim on. It is so welcoming here. It is just beautiful. So tonight, we're off for a night out. We've been seeing these things in various sizes. There's more over here, have a look. All over town. Every second or third shop. Big ones, medium ones. And we don't know what they are. We have just worked out what they are. Look, it is, looks like the tree of the area is a pine tree, and those are pine cones. So we're just back from the expo. Well, that was interesting. There was food, plenty of food.
Well, I think there was every cliche of an expo in the world. There was the things that dices, the guy who has
But wait, there's more.
There's more. The pots and pans, the thing that, for cleaning the windows.
Yeah.
What else?
There was Persian carpets. There was these really big floor polishing unit things, like virtually ride-on.
Oh, was it? I didn't see that.
Opposite the tools, you were distracted.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There was tools.
There was tools. Yeah.
Okay, so tools was interesting.
Strange collection of tools.
I asked how much for a set of spanners that were not even new. They were sticky taped together and a little bit of rust on them.
Yeah.
And someone said, so €6.
Yes.
And I go, okay. And then there was a bit of discussion, and someone else came back and said, no, he's made a mistake at €16. And I go, all right,
Yeah.
like still cheap. Then 5 minutes later, we're still holding on because we want them. Someone comes up to Richard and said, €50, €50.
Yeah.
I went like, nah, okay.
To which stage I said, no, thank you.
We clearly don't look Italian by that point. Yeah, there was some African goods, like scarves and fabrics and things. There was jewellery, kids' toys. It was interesting.
What's the licorice was nice, wasn't it?
Yes, lots of licorice and lots of lollies. Lots and lots of lollies.
But it's
Yeah,
fun.
it's
I just found it amusing how it just had all the cliche stalls
Yeah.
from every expo I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Going back to my youth,
Yeah.
you always find that one that's mic'd up and is going to dice some vegetables like
Yeah.
never been
Yeah.
done before.
But we had a good night.
It was a good night. So our anchor chain is dropping straight down, runs along the floor, and I hope you can see this. There's a rock here, and obviously we've been rotating around. It looks like it's wrapped around that rock 3 times, and then it comes back, and the anchor is sort of just sitting under the boat. You can just see the end of the anchor. Can't see the sort of blade of the anchor that's stuck well into the sand. And there's some lines on the seafloor as well. This used to be an old mooring field, I think. So that rock actually might be
Could very well be a big bit of concrete used for moorings. Anyway, in a few days when we come to leave, hopefully we don't have a problem getting our chain back out from there. I don't think we will, but yeah, we'll just have to be careful we don't pull too hard and just pull it up right underneath.
To say it's a little windy today might be an understatement. Well, it's probably really blowing about 15 knots, so we just got gusts probably up to 25 blowing through the anchorage, but we don't have a lot of fetch out in front of us, so the waves aren't very high. But we've just been sitting here watching some firefighting. Planes sort of come down, they touch down on the water and then circle back around. It looks like they're fighting a fire in the hills behind us here in Sicily. This weather's we're expecting for 3 days, so we've had 2 glorious weeks, and now we've got this this weather. That's fine. We're in a really well protected bay here. So the worst is because we've got a bit of protection, we get a bit gusty coming around the point. But it's not, the sea state's fine. There's been a boat over behind us that was dragging its anchor before. They came in this morning, they've just reset. Just don't think they're putting out enough, and they've anchored really close to the beach, which looks a bit dangerous. I think if we drag, there's so much crap on the seafloor here with the old mooring lines down there that we'll probably just catch onto a mooring line anyway and be really well held. So I'm just quite happy where we are at the moment. Had to avoid that little boat overnight. We had quite a strong offshore breeze. We have an offshore breeze every night, but last night it was particularly strong and it was pushing us very, very close. So I sat out in the cockpit for a couple of hours from about 2:30 just watching, making sure we didn't go back because anchor was tied around an old mooring block on the seabed. If it slipped off there, then we would have gone back probably another 10 metres and hit it. So but anyway, we're in this wind direction now for 3 days, so there's not much chance of that happening. Just got to entertain ourselves for 3 days in this weather.
We're off a big walk up the top of the hill this morning to see the sanctuary.
And the Roman ruins.
Yes.
And
no, they're not. They're Greek. Even older than Roman.
There's some Greek and Roman.
Yes.
So there's a Greek theatre, and there was a Roman town established at Tindari.
Cool.
That's the town. And I think in 395. So it's recorded that the town was established. So
wow.
it's quite good dating of it.
Yeah. There were some fires here just a few weeks before we arrived. So maybe about a month ago now. Different locals have given us different dates. But that terribly hot summer, that heat wave we had in Italy.
With temperatures hitting 47 degrees Celsius, locals fear the searing heat could spark yet more fires.
So we're part way up to the sanctuary, having a little bit of a rest. But I just want to show you this area off the cliff. We've spoken to some locals about this, and they explained that there is a legend that a couple of young girls fell off the cliff, and the Virgin Mary appeared to save them, or to save others, or keep others safe, something like that. And her image is immortalised in a lake on the sand down here. Now, I can't see that as an image of the Virgin Mary. So I asked someone when we went for a walk to explain the outline. And apparently the head end is at the left and the feet are to the right. So we've been looking up on the story of this sanctuary. So apparently in about the 5th, could be 6th, could even be 7th century from different sources, a ship arrived in the bay, sheltered the Bay of Tindari, here where Helios has been, sheltering from a storm. And they were carrying on it a statue of the Virgin Mary and Jesus. And then when they went to leave, they were unable to leave. So they offloaded some cargo to get rid of some weight, and they still couldn't leave. And they offloaded more, they still couldn't leave. Until they offloaded the statue of the Madonna, and then the ship was buoyant enough to leave. So the legend says that Mary chose this place to stay. And they were Byzantine. Wikipedia says they came from the Orient. I suppose that's Byzantine. Then locals found the statue in a chest on the beach and took it up here to the hill where there was already a Christian community and built a basilica around it. And that's why they now call it a sanctuary, because it's a sanctuary for the statue. So we're thinking that was around somewhere between 5th and 7th century is the best information we can get at the moment. That basilica was destroyed by the Ottoman Empire in around the mid-1500s, and a new one was built, keeping the same statue of the Virgin Mary, which is the part you can see on the very left, the pinkish part there, we understand. It's on the same foundation. The foundation stones were the original from the 5th, 6th century. And that was in use because the statue was believed to have miraculous powers, and a lot of pilgrims came to visit. And the basilica wasn't big enough to house all of the pilgrims that were coming. So in the 1950s, they extended the church. So we believe that is the next two kind of columns. If you're moving from the right, there's a pinkish one, which is the oldest one, and then two more. And then further on, you see there's like accommodation and housing. Well, that's for a monastery where the monks live. Well, that was really special. It was eerily quiet and just beautiful, peaceful feeling in there. I loved the angels holding up the statue. It really shows how special this statue has been to the community. And did you see the amazing mosaics? There's 14 of these huge mosaics along the wall with the tiniest little tiles. It's really lovely. We stopped at the cafe by the church for our breakfast. And the first time in Sicily we're having their arancini, which they are famous for. It's a local specialty, this kind of arancini. Arancini is beautiful. And today's Richard's birthday. Happy birthday, guys. Thank you. We normally ask for granita fragola con crema, which is strawberry with cream. And she said no crema. Panna. Pane? Panna. So I said, okay. But it has cream. So maybe that means whipped cream. So the documentation we've read says that this was established in 396 AD. The town was magnificent, apparently, looking out to the north here. It was quite rectangular, and the long face of the rectangle facing the north across the Ionian Sea and the Ionian Islands. Really is a beautiful place for a town. Come and look at the mosaic floor. Ooh. So these must be the baths.
That makes sense.
That's the frigidarium, the cold room. You know, we have got, maybe because we've come by boat, but we've got to see places that many tourists don't get to go to because they've been so far out of the way. Who comes to the northeastern tip of Sicily to look at an archaeological find? It's so out of the way, yet it's so untouched. It's magnificent.
Yeah, when you've got 2 weeks holiday and you're going to spend them in Italy, then this is probably not on your list.
Because it'll take you a week to get here.
Yeah.
But we get to have time in these places. We're so lucky.
Aren't these buildings amazing?
It's perfect. Doesn't it feel more you can feel more connected to what it would have been like when it has a roof on it.
Yeah.
See a little bit of the original wall covering down the bottom.
Yeah, so I was looking at all the walls before thinking they're quite rough, but they've probably been rendered as well, so...
Yeah, there it is. Luxury two-storey noble residence with rooms set lengthwise. The peristyle tablinum axis. 2 wide verandas overlooked the underlying housing complex, organised into a warehouse and 3 shops, each one with 3 back stores facing the central decumanus. End of the 2nd century BC, with signs of restoration in the 1st century AD. It's like we've just stumbled across it ourselves, like no one else is around. Well, except for these really helpful little signs in Italian and English, but otherwise it's like we've discovered it ourselves. This is the barrel vaulted hall. Thank you.
Thank
Grazie.
you.
This one?
Saliva così.
Oh, wow.
Saliva sopra.
Okay. Can I go over?
No, dico, era questa la strada che saliva
Ah.
sul superiore.
Ah.
Capito?
Wow. You can also get a better shot from up here. Look at that, it's amazing.
What I like with these people here, they're so enthusiastic about their archaeological sites, and it's probably because they don't get a lot of visitors. The woman down at the camping ground says, who is actually Australian, said to me that yeah, they just don't get a lot of people from Australia here.
No
in
one
Sicily.
from Australia ever comes here, she says. Yeah. Look at this. It's like an armchair. And look at the view.
We used to have blackberries all the way down the bank from our house
Yeah.
on the farm.
Don't mind us, we know the locals. I've told us we can come here.